You know, this has been a hotly debated topic within the community of Akwesasne for a few months, and I guess it's been national as well. We're talking about the marijuana and hemp issue. Now, across the country, we're seeing different forms of trying to legalize the use of marijuana and hemp, and most recently, the Saint Regis Mohawk Tribe held a meeting to discuss bringing it to referendum. Okay. So we're going to start off with that. We're going to open it up to you guys, the panel, and kind of discuss where we want to go with this.
So I was at the tribal meeting when they presented
Me too.
the, oh yeah, you were taping.
I was there.
The draft questions. So I have them. Would you like me to read them?
Sure.
Draft question number 1. Should the Saint Regis Mohawk Tribe explore options to legalize, license, and regulate the cultivation, production, and distribution of medical marijuana?
Okay.
And draft question number 2, should the Saint Regis Mohawk Tribe explore options to legalize, license, and regulate the cultivation, production, and distribution of industrial hemp?
Now, these are questions that were supposed to be in June with the election, right? So they backed it up to September 5th, I think?
Well, what happens now is they presented the possible questions.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they have, the community has 30 days to comment.
Yes,
So they have
yeah.
until September 5th to comment on the actual questions. And actually what happened in May is the tribal clerk kind of wouldn't approve the questions then for the referendum because she didn't feel like there was enough time for the community to be involved, to learn about it, go through the meetings and stuff. So that's kind of how that happened. So now they presented the questions, it's a comment period, and then we go from there, I guess. And I think they were talking about holding the referendum maybe around December once all this gets happened, once all the draft the questions get finalized. Then they have the meetings, and I did ask the question if they would be having separate meetings for each one, and they said yes, you know, because they're two different things.
Right. I guess my interpretation of it is that, again, this has the potential of being an economic driver for the community. I know there was a lot of community members that were kind of questioning why marijuana is even brought into the conversation because we're taught from a young age that marijuana is an illegal substance. But again, it's been proven time over again that it can be used for medicinal purposes, and if properly, I guess, distributed, it could be for the good of the community as well. But again, this is about a way of sustaining and improving an economic driver within our community. We have the casino, we have businesses local, but what other, I guess, no pun intended, cash crop can we look into, you know, sustaining and growing our community?
Right.
And they were saying that there is a difference in marijuana and the hemp, and it's unfortunate that they're clumped together because at the presentation they were saying that hemp you don't get high from it. You can roll around in it all day, nothing happens. Right. And that was the analogy that they used at the meeting.
They extract the THC from it is what they do. They extract the THC from the hemp, and that's why you can wear it in jewelry, you can wear it in your sandals, you can wear it in your clothes, you can do whatever you want with it. That's so there's no effect from it by rolling in it.
Yeah.
Smoking it, nothing.
But I guess it goes back to that basic question. Regardless of what type of referendum questions are out there, we just make sure that the community is aware that it's out there and that there's time given to express your thoughts and concerns about it.
Yeah.
So where would they go if they want to?
They would go to the tribal clerk's office, I believe, and it's a comment period. I guess you would just drop off a comment.
Or talk to them about what your issue is.
Yeah, I mean, and they did talk about the difference in the marijuana. There's medical, there's recreational, there's a lot. And there was a whole presentation.
It's highly regulated. They kept making a point that, you know, it's not, we're just going to, hey, I have pain in my back, give me some weed. You know, or give me whatever. I have this card, give it to me. It's highly regulated. You have to have a diagnosis for one of the...
you have to have an established relationship with a doctor, which requires at least 2 visits that you pay out of your pocket. No health insurance will cover it because it's not FDA approved. Yeah. It's going to cost you a lot. And they said, like, even if you get a prescription for it, it could cost anywhere from $20 up to $2,000, depending on how much you're supposed to have.
Yeah, and it's an alternative form of medicine because at the presentation, there was a community member that was actually speaking to an issue her husband was going through. He was advanced state Parkinson's, and they've exhausted all forms of therapy and medication. And there's been studies proven with hemp and medical marijuana that there's positive effects towards this particular disease. So what do? Do you exhaust everything else and not explore this option for this community member? You know, that's a really, really hard issue.
And there's a specific list of diagnoses, too, that goes with, that benefits from it. So
Well, that's good to know. At least from a community perspective, it's going to be under regulations, that there's going to be criteria that are involved for the distribution of it. So it's not going to be an open format where people are just selling on the corners. You know, so this is, again, September 5th is the cutoff period to get information and also to provide your comments and feedback, probably to the tribal clerk's office.
Can't wait. I hope my cataracts. I got cataracts.
We're going to have to see a doctor's note for that. We're going to have to see a doctor's note.
Mm-hmm. 2 visits. 2 visits.
Yo honey, ka yo ani yo honey, yo honey.